Welcome to the Arkansas Cattle Business Podcast, brought to you by the Arkansas Cattlemen's Association. Here, we dive into the heart of Arkansas's cattle industry, where legislation, education, advocacy, and development come together to support the hardworking cattle producers of the natural state. Whether you're in the pasture or on the road, this is your connection to the people, policies, and programs shaping the future of our industry.
Hey y'all, and welcome back to the Arkansas Cattle Business Podcast. I'm your host, Norley Townsend. Today looks a little different. We're here in Nashville, Tennessee at the 2026 CattleCon. And I'm here with our Arkansas leadership. So go ahead and introduce yourself, where you're from, your operation, and your leadership position.
Okay, I'm Ron Carter from the Batesville, Arkansas area, Independence County. We've got a cattle operation there east of Batesville and all. And I'm second vice president on the state association.
Okay, I'm Don Hubble. I'm also from Independence County. I have a commercial cow-calf operation up there and currently serving as a state association president.
Good morning. I'm Elizabeth Walker from Sevier County. I'm currently serving as the Area 3 Executive Vice President for Arkansas Cattlemen's Association, and my husband and I have a cow-calf and stalker operation.
So what's it like being here in Nashville, Tennessee at a national convention, serving Arkansas cattlemen?
Well, I've been to CattleCon several years in a row, and they just get bigger and better every year. There's a lot of information that is shared here, the meetings, the information that you gather, seeing all the new technology and equipment that's out there. It's good to come and meet up with old friends, make new friends. It's a long week, but it's a very fun week.
You don't add anything to it?
Yeah, Norley, just to piggyback off of what Don said, the content's been very informative. The trade show, a lot of new technology out there that I'm excited to take back to the farm. But, with any conference, the most valuable part is the relationships and the networking and just getting to know, their leadership at Arkansas Cattlemen's more, as well as meeting new friends within the industry. That's my favorite part.
We've talked about cattle condition and things. I've also found out about my body condition. There is a considerable amount of walking. This is a large facility. I think the trade show floor is 7 acres, and for meeting rooms, trade show floor and all, yes, you do get a personal workout also.
It's very true. So y'all get to attend national meetings, and Arkansas gets to have a voice. So what policy meetings have y'all been in, and what did you learn from that meeting?
The one I attended was international trade, and it was very interesting. When I walked in the room, and suddenly, we think this is we're Arkansas Cattle Association. This is the National Cattlemen's, and you walk in the room, and here's Ireland and Australia and the European countries and the South Africa and all these reps here from all over the world, attending this convention with you, and they have just as much interest in trade issues. What are we, the country, what's the United States doing that's going to affect them and their industries, and their country. So that was pretty eye-opening just to see so many, from the foreign countries here in attendance, and to learn about the percent of things of what we're up against, what challenges we have in the future, what we've accomplished, and what we still need to do.
Okay, the main informative meeting that I went to was the animal health and well-being session, and that was very interesting. We had 3 different speakers in there. They talked about border security, how that's important with the New World screwworm, and keeping an eye on that, and efforts being made to thwart that before it gets into the United States. We also had a veterinarian got up and talked about the Filaria protozoan that is spreading through the nation, or well, maybe not nationwide, but it's certainly in Arkansas, Missouri, Texas, and efforts that are being made to combat that from spreading across the country. We're also the other speaker was talking about how government policy is affecting USDA agencies and the way how quick they can react and help us with farms in our states and local jurisdictions. The other meetings that I attended had to do with policy. Some of the new policy that has been added to NCBA is we wrote policy to work in Washington, D.C. through NCBA to come up with solutions to the tularemia problem, and also to new policy to support New World screwworm eradication and control. I think those are the main meetings I went to. You don't want to hear about the budget meetings and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So the private property rights policy meeting was the most impactful to me. And I think in Arkansas, we can all agree that that's a huge topic of conversation. And for Arkansas and Oklahoma and other states to come together to share our story, to really keep that on the radar is just absolutely critical for all of Arkansas agriculture.
Yeah, so I got to sit in on the federal lands meeting, so that was really interesting. Which they talked a lot. They talked a lot about the wolves issue and stuff, which we don't have in Arkansas, but I mean we have coyotes and stuff. But it's really interesting to learn about the other side of the country and the issues they're facing. And I know we had a regional meeting as well. So in NCBA, Arkansas is in the region with Texas and Oklahoma. So how was that? I know Dawn said in those meetings, Ron and Elizabeth, y'all haven't really got to sit in those meetings yet. So how was that to learn about Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas kind of working together, the same kind of issues, different kind of issues? So.
Okay, so topic or one of the main topics in that regional meeting was the conflict between Oklahoma and Arkansas, where they were talking about the Illinois watershed regulations and what's going on with that and how they're combating that issue. I was glad to hear that NCBA is joined in that fight, along with a couple of other agriculture organizations. It was very eye-opening to see and hear about some organizations that sound agriculture friendly, but they are not, and their talking points are very deceiving, and so we're having to fight those battles also. And the NCBA membership to NCBA, the membership dues is what helps pay for the legal battles that we fight on that. And I'm glad that the national organization is coming to our region to help us with something that's going to be very impactful, or it already is, but it could be even more impactful in the future, depending on which way this case goes. So that was very eye-opening on that.
Yes. The thing, I guess, that kind of originated out of that is one of our own, Scott Sullivan, was elected for our regional VP and be representing for policy on NCBA. But to have Scott, elected and have an Arkansas rep, when you're talking about Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Arkansas has the rep. So I thought that was big for Arkansas.
Yeah, because we don't have that position every 12 years, so that was interesting. Elizabeth, you want to add anything?
Yeah. And really, it was enlightening to see the states come together. Arkansas is one voice, but when we have multiple voices in the room fighting for something that's so important for Arkansas agriculture, I was just very, very happy for that discussion. It took a lot of time, and I think it was very well represented from Arkansas and Oklahoma and other states in the region. So yeah, that was absolutely the highlight of that regional meeting for myself.
Yeah, for sure. So, kind of going off topic, we talked to a lady this morning from Farm Progress, and she asked y'all this, but I thought it was really neat, and so I'm going to ask you again. So if you had any budget in the world and you could buy anything on the trade show, what would it be? There's a lot on the trade show floor.
Yeah, so the trade show is overwhelming. I don't think I've been to every booth yet, but there's massive equipment, and I'm really happy that my husband's not here because we might be taking some of that home with us. Something that as a rancher, I am very data driven. And I love to learn. I love to improve our operation. And just some of the technology that we're exposed to at these trade shows is exciting and enlightening. And, a lot of ranchers just continue to do the same thing year after year. And maybe because it was grandpa did it. And there's some value in those generational experiences, but the world's changing. And so coming to these trade shows, being able to take technology and new ideas back to Arkansas and share it with our ranchers, to me is most exciting.
If I had an unlimited budget, my request was pretty simple. I was really impressed with some of the portable corrals and chutes they had that had built-in scales. That's not very fancy or exciting, but that would be my choice.
True. I mean, there's so much in there that you'd love to have on your farm and all. A lot we have, but I wouldn't put it in the same category as what we're seeing here. There's a few years difference in the age of my equipment and what they're showing us. But one of the guys I visited with and all was on drone technology, and he had a drone there on display, and I just listened to him talk to some other people passing by and all their operations, and no matter how large they were, he could tell them, like how many drones they would need to buy and this and that. But for spraying, for all the chemical applications, seeding, there's just unlimited what the drone technology has done now. And whether it's if you want to look at your cows out in the pasture and fly over them and not drive out across there, but the chemical applications and all was really amazing on it. And he was talking about the components in the units and where they're manufactured and which ones you kind of trust and all. This is a sales pitch, but just listening to him talk to some of these other ranchers that maybe are covering 100,000 acres out west and what it would mean to them.
Yeah. So is it bad to say I want everything as a young producer?
Yeah, I mean, from the simple things, I saw the no fencing booth. I don't know if y'all saw that or not. Where you put the equipment or I don't know what kind of device actually put on the cow's neck or whatever, but it's like many of you may be familiar with the dog fences, the underground dog fences and all, and they're doing that with cattle now. Another booth I saw is where you could actually put the devices on your, and it's. No,
you're good.
And it's obvious we are here at the trade show, and we have several people passing by out in the foyer area. But it was devices that you could trace your bull's actions. It tracks actually what he's doing in the fields and the pastures and relates that information back to you. And also the technology that's out there now is just overwhelming for a little hillbilly from Sulphur Rock, Arkansas.
So, is there anything y'all just want to add for Arkansas, like why we're here?
Well, I guess one of a big takeaway for the National Association, and as representing Arkansas, that I'm glad to be here so that our voice can be heard. But to attend the big session, general sessions, executive sessions, and see how we develop policy, work on policy, and how it gets to the national level. And that is the marching orders for NCBA to take to Washington so that we're all on the same page and let them know what our concerns are, what we want them to work on, because they have to have policy from the industry to make those requests or ask for changes, legislation, regulations, whatever the topic is. But seeing how that process is put together and works, and then at the end of the meeting or end of the conference, you get to see the final product, and just knowing how an idea from Sulphur Rock, Arkansas, gets all the way to Washington, D.C. is just amazing to me. It takes time, but you have to have a voice, at the county level, state level, regional, and at the national level, and that's how you facilitate change. But it's an amazing process. It seems kind of slow, but it's it's worked, and we've gotten exceptional results, especially lately with the One Farm Bill. And it's helped us tremendously, and we hope to continue to build on that. Beef demand is up, and consumption. Supply is staying the same to decreasing a little bit. That's all good news for cattle producers all across the country, and also very relevant in Arkansas. So, this is a great week.
Can I put a local
Yeah.
plug in? Okay, what I like to do is our state convention will be in Fort Smith this year. We're going to Fort Smith. It's been several years since we've been there. Be the August 6th and 7th, I believe, 6, 7, 8. Double check that date. It'll be in the magazine and all. But please make plans to come to that. We'll have the trade show, nothing of this size that we're experiencing here. Again, we're in the foyer. We have a walk by. But plan on coming to Fort Smith. What Don was talking about, this is where it all starts. At the county levels, bring it to the state meetings, state conventions, and things we need to talk about or whatever. And we just keep pushing it up and sending it on up the ladder and all, and working with other states. Also, this convention will be in Nashville again next year. So you may want to make plans for that. If you've never been to one and all, it's quite a show to see and all. We've had a little fun too. We've had some entertainment. Dale Earnhardt Jr. spoke to us and kind of a motivational standpoint. Robert Kennedy is going to be speaking this afternoon to us and all, and with the push now for protein and red meat and all being what it is, we're excited about that and look forward to hearing what he has to say and all. So again, make plans definitely for the Arkansas convention, and look ahead even to come to Nashville next year with us.
And so, Ron, area conferences are coming up. And so March is when those kick off. And so I'm excited, and I'm sure you are too, to bring some of the ideas and some of the things we've learned to those area conferences. There's been market outlooks, there's been climate outlooks, there's been so much information that we can share. I have a notebook full of notes. And so, my husband couldn't make it, and our producers are home, and I hope they're not having to chop ice currently. I hope things have melted since we left, but it's an honor to be able to leave Arkansas, come to the national convention, and then be able to take things back to help our Arkansas producers be better and just to move forward in the industry.
And I know it's nice to, we don't always agree with NCBA, but it's nice to have a national affiliate, such as, when President Trump spoke about the markets and the beef markets and stuff, and NCBA sent us a letter like, hey, get these out to your producers, and we did. And, it had some change to it. So, it's really cool to see that aspect of it.
Yeah, and a theme of this conference is market volatility.
Right.
I'm hearing that over and over again, from even like a headline that could impact the markets, to screw worm, to the Mexican border opening up, to all the things that are impacting the volatility in the markets. And that's just something else that we can take back to Arkansas and share.
It's amazing to listen to all these speakers and everything, and get a real feel for how connected the whole industry is, and while you may live in Minnesota or South Texas or Pennsylvania or California, we all are facing the same issues, and NCBA and our state and region are working to address those issues, and have a positive impact on our producers. But this is a great convention, and we'll, as Ron said, we'll have a smaller version of this in August. So make plans to attend.
It's one of the reasons I'm here, is to get new vendors.
Something that you mentioned there and all, I have not been active in NCBA. I've come to the national convention one time several years ago, but I hear a lot of negative from NCBA's perspective versus maybe a cow-calf state like Arkansas, and we're not properly represented. One thing eye-opening to me has been many of these at the national level and all, how many of them were cow-calf producers. There was actually a proposal to do a little more for that, and it passed. It did pass. But one of the guys spoke up and he started saying, I'm a cow-calf producer and I'm a cow-calf producer. Well, the new national president is from Virginia and he's a cow-calf producer, and he'll be the national NCBA president this coming year and from a cow-calf state. So that was kind of exciting to me to see that maybe we're not as far apart as what I had as visualized and all. There's still issues out there but they're working for all of us.
One example of policy that was passed and or discussed and then passed was developing a livestock risk protection program. We're familiar with it with marketing our cattle. It's a short-term window, but there was discussions to have an LRP program for breeding animals. So, like if you're retaining heifers, to breed, there would be you could buy this insurance, and at certain levels, maybe it might kick in. If the market tanks, or if you had an 80% birth rate, or something, but there would be ways to trigger this insurance policy in there. Now this hasn't happened. This is our policy, and that gives NCBA something to work with the insurance companies to develop a program like that. And we currently don't have that because keeping replacement females would be a 2-year plus risk, and that would help all producers, but it is particularly aimed at young producers getting started, to keep them from maybe having a catastrophe right away. So, but it would be good for all cattle producers. But I thought that was a really good example of, how the leadership at the state and then state, regional, and national levels are trying to help everybody in the industry in one way or another. So I thought that was a good policy initiative.
Yeah. Well, I think that was all my questions. If y'all want to add anything else, want to talk about anything? All right. Well, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say thank you for letting us share,
Yeah.
Our experiences that we've had here, and encouraging other people, to come to the spring conferences and the state convention, and put it on your calendar, maybe to come to the national here in Nashville again next year. It's a pretty easy drive from Arkansas, and I guarantee you'll find something that you like here. So.
Yeah. Well, also, Michelle's here with us too, so we're about to interview her, and baby Cassidy. She's been here all week, so it's been really neat. So thank y'all for joining us. We'll see you here in a minute.
Thank you.
Hey y'all, so we're back from the convention this week, and I've got Michelle here with me. So
Yeah, so we're gonna kind of recap a little bit of what happened and talk about again, like why the importance of going to CattleCon and being involved in the conversation. I know you've heard it from our members and our leadership that was there, but want to reiterate a little bit of what they talked about. So before we hop in, like, what was your favorite part of CattleCon? This is now what, your third one?
I think so. Yeah.
Yep.
Fourth one, I think. I like being in Nashville. That was a lot of fun. I've only been to Nashville once. That was for the bachelorette party, but we really didn't get to see like the Ryman, the Grand Ole Opry, Country Music Hall of Fame. But this time we got to go through and see the Country Music Hall of Fame. Got to go to the Ryman, so that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that part of it.
Yep. Yeah, it was a good time. Mine was being able to go, actually being able to go because we weren't sure. But I was able to take my mom and my 5-week-old daughter. And so it was an adventure. It was definitely looked different than any of the other 10 cattle cons that I've been to. But it was a really great time to be able to visit with our members and see our counterparts all across the state, all across the nation, and know that we're all working for the same thing.
Yeah. And I got to meet one of your best friends from Alabama and all the things. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. We had a nice village for my daughter, for Cassidy, and so every time we walked past somebody, they're like, "Oh, there's another human with you." I'm like, "Yep, yeah." There's a whole crew. Every single person was very supportive, very helpful. It was nice. I mean, it reminded me of the family that we've built, even though it's none of them are blood related except my mom. And so, but it was a good time.
Did your mom have fun?
Oh, she had a blast, and she got to go to some sessions and learn some things, and so she really enjoyed. It was her first time at CattleCon, and so she enjoyed it, even though she was playing babysitter most of the time. So, yeah. So you talked about it. You heard from Ron and Don and Elizabeth, who all attended as members of the Cattlemen's, and so we're going to talk. I'm going to talk a little bit about, from my perspective, of why we go to NCBA, why we go to CattleCon, and why it's so important. I know they talked a little bit about the policy side, but I think for me, that's the biggest piece of why we go to CattleCon is the policy. It is where members from Arkansas, members from all states get to come in and have a voice in what is being done and being said within the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. And there's a lot of feelings, a lot of thoughts about NCBA. Our argument is always it is necessary to be there and be at the table, and so making sure that Arkansas's producers' voices are heard and making sure that cow-calf producers are heard. And so that's why we go, is to be able to share our perspective and share our story and to vote on policy meetings. Like, while it's fun to see people, it's great to go to the Ryman and go to the Country Music Hall of Fame and see all these things. The purpose of it is the policy meetings. And so we are able to go and attend those meetings. The way it works is resolutions are brought from other states or from states all across the nation. They can bring forth policy resolutions, and then we read those, they discuss them, they debate them, and then from Arkansas's perspective, we read them and compare them to our policy and see what we have in writing about that resolution. So if we can support it, if we cannot support it, whatever it may be. And so we're able to send our members to those meetings. They are the ones there voting on those items. And so this year there was a lot of resolutions surrounding disaster payments, drought programs, the LIRIA, and so nothing too astronomical crazy was discussed, but a lot of them, like for the Thaleria one, for example, was trying to encourage the government to find more treatments and preventative items for medicine for Thaleria. And so while we don't necessarily have policy for Thaleria specifically, we do have policy for animal health and herd health. And so we're able to apply that policy to that resolution that was presented and support the resolution from Missouri. It ended up passing. So we'll be able to go to USDA and say, hey, and to FDA and say, hey, like, we need new drugs. We need new opportunities to treat and prevent this devastating disease that's coming all across the Southeast. And so it's a prime example of one way that we're able to make a difference, and we're able to share and look at our policy and make that decision. So.
And I know we talked about what I find interesting is the regional meetings we have. Mm-hmm. So I was explained it earlier, where we're grouped with Oklahoma and Texas and seeing what their problems are, kind of how we all have different problems with the same problems as well.
Yep. Yeah. So we always get together with our region during these region meetings. And so we share the Beef Council and the Cattlemen's Associations, both sides, share what's happening in their state and what problems they're focusing on. And so it's very interesting to see, while we share a border with both of these states, like what issues they're facing that we're not and what issues we're facing that they aren't. And so it's always a good time to see and learn from our neighbors there. We also had the opportunity for an Arkansan to get elected this year at the region meeting. So Scott Sullivan, who is the Cattlemen's immediate past president for Arkansas, is now the Region 4 Vice President for Policy for NCBA. And so he will serve on the executive committee with NCBA. He'll be the region vice president, so he'll run that region meeting next year in Nashville again. And he'll go to the exec meetings in Denver and share Arkansas's voice and share cow-calf producers' voice. So we're very excited, very grateful that Scott was elected and is willing to serve and represent Arkansas well, which we know he will.
And Arkansas doesn't get that position every 12 years, is that
correct?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So our region is a little different. Instead of doing elections, we do rotations. And so we do still have elections, but it's not an open election per se. And so it's somebody from Arkansas for 3 years, and then it'll be somebody from Texas and then somebody from Oklahoma. And so we trade off. And so that way each state gets represented, even though it may only be once every 12 years. So, but yep, very excited for Scott. Going to be a great opportunity for Arkansas to have a position, because again, it was 12 years ago, the last person we had on the NCBA executive committee, and so looking forward to having him serve in that capacity.
So what are we looking forward to within the next year nationally, do you think?
So we had a lot of conversations about DC and what's happening there, and I think a big piece of it is just the question marks that are still tied to the outstanding pieces of the Farm Bill. Are we going to get one? Probably not. Will we get some pieces of items funded in other bills? Yes, probably. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. I think the biggest conversation is looking at New World Screwworm. We just opened this week, opened up the new dispersal facility in Texas, the fly dispersal facility. And so while we still are not producing more flies, we're able to disperse them a little bit easier from this facility in Texas. And so that's going to be a large conversation as the weather continues to change and we see more and more potential for New World Screwworm coming across the border because they don't survive well in cold temperatures. And so for a little bit we were safe, but now it's like 75 degrees outside. So who knows? So that'll be a big piece of it. And then obviously still keeping an eye on and having conversations with this administration about importing and exporting beef. I know right after we got home from CattleCon, President Trump announced a deal with Argentina again. And so still having those conversations, but it was encouraging to see Secretary Kennedy there, the HHS secretary at CattleCon, talking about the importance of eating beef, but also the importance of eating American beef. And so we know this administration is hearing our concerns and making sure that we're finding ways to provide beef from America for Americans.
Good to hear. Well, is there anything else you want to add? That was basically all my questions that I had for you.
So next year, this conference is open to anybody, and it is in Nashville again next year, and so it'll be a 2-year term there. So they'll have a CattleCon again, beginning of February in Nashville. Anyone's able to attend. It does have a fairly high cost to attend, but there are grants available for it. Just like there's a grant available for our convention, there are grants available for CattleCon. So if you're interested in attending, I encourage you, go and see the trade show at the very least, but go and see the policy meetings, go and see how the association is run, and see what's happening there. I encourage you to think about it and start thinking about and planning to attend next year. So, all right.
Thank y'all for listening and thank you for coming in, even though it's your maternity leave.
Yep. Hey, we have other things to do, so it worked out.
We're all busy around here.
Yep. And so, yeah, we appreciate it.
Thank y'all. This is the Arkansas Cattle Business Podcast, your trusted source for all things cattle in the natural state.